I have a few companies. My primary business is a consulting firm that works for public sector in the state of Texas. And we refiled as a S corp a few years ago, but even when it was single member LLC, I was using Vlad's fund the entire time. So he's been with us through the transition and has been the accountant for a long time. On my primary firm, I act as CEO and CTO, but I also am responsible for the financials. So all ultimate financial decisions of significance go through me. Prior to partnering with Sherry CPA, I had other CPAs. I had friends that worked at UHY and have been over at Grant Thornton and Ernst and Young, and I think it was Colcourse. And I had kind of hopped around my friends that were CPAs and used them until it didn't work for whatever reason anymore. I haven't attempted to do any 1120s on my own before or anything like that. We've always had somebody handling it. I would say disorganization and lack of technological competence. Some of the platforms they used and how they had their processes for some submission of records and documents for the filings was a little disjointed, but I'm extraordinarily tech savvy, and so I'm used to working in cloud environments for everything. And as much as you can automate, the better. And CheryCPA seems to be very open to designing and hosting whatever platform makes the most sense for expedition of the filings and expedition of getting financials and records over to them. And that speeds things up for me, which is a good thing since I don't particularly enjoy doing accounting and bookkeeping. So the faster you can make it, the faster you can rip the Band-Aid off, the better. Honestly, that was just a referral, and I trusted the referring source, and I gave him a go. And after the first year, I'm like, okay, you're not going anywhere. This is 6 or 7 years ago. We've made some complicated transactions before, and they've been good at ensuring that we're making the right decisions in the right order and at cleaning up the accounting when we haven't. When we outsourced our books to his firm to do instead of another or even internal bookkeeping, I've noticed that our financials are reconciled a lot faster than we were historically used to. So that gives us more current insight to our actual financial wellness because they're an all in one. I think when you cut out the middleman, it speeds things up pretty significantly because the more terminals there are in the communication line, whenever you're doing any project, finances especially, the more terminals you have in that comm line, the more you have the game of telephone starts to occur, and there's the degradation of the original communication. The fewer terminals in a relationship, the better. So if it's our firm to his firm and that's it, that really helps. If I'm being frank, not having to worry about it, peace of mind that it's getting handled. I don't have to stress about it because they stress about it for me. That's probably the biggest value. But that doesn't come until you know that you're in the right hands, though. Vlad's been the most patient, and he's I think working with them. It took a little while to get to know my style. It sounds a little cliched to say it that way, but it's true. You know, your clients have different styles, and being able to anticipate their needs and just get along with them, it's actually quite an enjoyable experience. I feel like I'm talking to my friends whenever we're going over otherwise what may be construed as boring financials. We actually have a pretty good time, so it's actually a lot of fun to work with them. I will tell you that historically I've changed through CPAs. It's been years now, mind you, since we've been with Sherry's firm for the longest. But before, I found that some of the other accountants that we worked with didn't seem to quite understand some of the tax strategies that I was presenting, which, mind you, if you're a good CPA, it should be your idea, not the client's idea. Vlad and I have been pretty successful on capturing a lot of unusual, uncommon tax benefits. Some originated with me, a lot of them originated with Vlad, but I've noticed that with Vlad's firm, having to explain how it works doesn't really happen as much as it does at other firms. Vlad has gotten to the point now in the past 3 years, he knows exactly how my mind works. He's very good at anticipating what sort of tax advantages and filing requirements that I'm going to need. When there's multiple tax advantages that are all being captured and are on a schedule, i.e., some of them are expiring in 5 years and some of them expire next year, and there's different expiration dates on the capture of these, tax advantages. Having someone else tracking and monitoring their progress where I don't have to keep a spreadsheet and make sure that I update it all the time. And to be honest with you, unless you enjoy doing your own financials and doing spreadsheets and doing bookkeeping, you're better off having someone who not only understands it, but will keep a real-time progress and status on them to ensure that you're capturing them all. Because you might have some deductions that you got that either you forgot or you didn't know, or that you had that expired and you didn't take full advantage of, which is why outsourcing it to someone who's got the capability and competence to stay on that on a regular, ongoing basis is what I recommend. Other than my hesitation to share my resource, I would absolutely recommend them over everyone else that I've used. Yeah, other than not wanting, other than me gatekeeping, I would definitely recommend. I've been known to be a difficult client according to some of my past CPAs. I think it's because I'm a bit aggressive on some of my moves, and some CPAs either don't understand the move or don't have the patience for it. But I've never felt rushed by Vlad, and he's really taken the time to understand me and how I run my organization, which is why I'm never getting rid of him, is because he's figured me out. He knows how I work, and he's got the patience and the understanding to ensure that I achieve my goals and to ensure that I also have enough. He wouldn't let me get into any trouble either. So it's a good balance of me going, come on, let's do this, and him going, okay, but not that much. And I'm like, okay, fair. We'll settle on this move because it's not so aggressive that he doesn't feel comfortable signing off on it, but it's not so passive that I feel like I'm losing out. So it's been a nice balanced dynamic.